for two of our crews. We were new to weightlessness. Now I think we've got a lot of experience with weightlessness and living and working in space. And so to be back in that homey Crew Dragon volume, I think is going to actually be a lot of fun. And we're going to soak in, I mean, it's an opportunity, kind of a bonus opportunity for us to soak in the amazing views of Earth as we're ready to get home.
Yeah, I think the other benefit is we actually like each other. So, well, I might be too presumptuous, but so having some time together without the busyness of the workday and things like that. So there'll certainly be things that we have to do and take care of on the way home. As far as what we've heard from other crew members, it sounds like it's a really smooth ride. Obviously we've been up here in microgravity for 6 months, so starting as we start feeling those G's come on, it's going to feel even more extreme than it would in a normal day. So. I think that's going to be really exciting. I think seeing the plasma out the window is going to be really awesome. That orange glow as it starts setting in inside the cabin, it's really exciting. And then obviously getting under the main chutes and splashing down in either the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico is going to be awesome. So I think when that hatch pops open and we feel that first breath of humid air, it's going to be pretty refreshing. So we're definitely really looking forward to it.
All right, next up we have Gina Sinceri, ABC News. Gina?
This is to Bob. Hi. Bob, what is your question about your stay on the space station? What's the memory or the view that you're going to take back with you as most precious?
Yeah, thank you. That is a great question, and I think from the time that the countdown clock went to 0, I've been trying to do that all the way up here, and during this entire mission is just kind of take in the special moments and kind of mentally imprint those on. The entire launch process and experience was one of those. Just that whole experience of coming off the pad, the acceleration, the immediate stop of the engines at staging, and then the gradual, absolutely insane acceleration to orbital speed, and then the instantaneous cutoff and we're in weightlessness. That whole experience is one of them. The other one is just the experience of looking out the cupola, especially getting to do it with my crewmates and sitting there and looking out the window and picking Waddy's brain on geology, on what the heck am I looking at when I look out the window and what happened and what causes that. But those are some of the really, really special times. Looking at, watching sunsets, seeing the aurora. We've had some spectacular auroras since we've been up here. And then, working with the teams on the ground, doing the problem solving and fixing things up here has been a lot of fun. And certainly the science that we're doing up here, to just better things for, not only us and furthering exploration, but also making things better back on Earth as well.
Okay, next up we have...
This shuttle was, king.
It's not what they're showing, it's what they're saying. It's what they're saying.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? So it's live right now. And this is one of their live events for today. And it's what they're saying in English. I'm gonna allow the video, their live presentation to play, and I might go into another video. Right now, I'm entertaining my granddaughter and my grandchildren.
That I am
playing
a geologist
while they
most of my career working
plan
on
out
the planet, but actually
more for the
on a
reconstruction.
different planet. So I have done most of my research and professional work looking at the geology of Mars, and we're able to use Earth as an analog to be able to actually go out to field sites, do some of the camping that you're talking about, and really get our hands on the rocks, and then be able to apply those principles and fundamental concepts to what we are able to observe about the surface of Mars.
Really similar to what we see on Mars. And so what we're doing here is trying to see how light colonizes across lava field. What moves in first? What comes after it? How does that process happen? And we're hoping that this will help us find those places on Mars where we're most likely to find life. Our team has a sort of a two-pronged approach to sampling. We collect some samples here that we will then analyze in a field lab or in a lab back in one of our respective universities. But we also try to do some in situ science too. In situ means doing it right there, right now. Of course, the biology samples are the most important, not to contaminate. So we collect those first.
Today, we took samples in nested sampling grids. One of the key things we want to look at is how much variation there is point to point at different spatial scales in the types of signs of life that we might look for on other worlds. There are a couple of different biomarkers that we look for, and biomarkers are traces of past and present life. One of the key ones that we look for is ATP, which is a molecule, adenosine triphosphate. It's a very convenient store of energy molecularly inside a cell, and so it's involved in almost every metabolic reaction that every cell on Earth does. Is that correlated in any way with the types of geochemical measurements that you can make either on the ground or through remote sensing before you get there? Because what it all comes down to is, so you're a rover, you've landed, walk around, what's the first test you should run? You don't see anything, should you move?
Is the opportunity of living the experience again, but with, the experience of the first space flight, and so the ability of noticing many more details, committing them to memory, savoring every detail, every experience. And also I have to say, it's been amazing to watch and relive my experience as a first-time fighter through, the first Hawaiian farmer, and then more recently, a couple of first-time flyers that joined us on board, and just reliving through the excitement and also the awkwardness of these first few days and weeks, and so in a way elaborate that experience from back then for myself as well.
All right, this next one comes from Eric on Twitter. Is for any crew member, what is the thing you'll miss the most about being in microgravity?
The thing that we will miss the most, I think all of us are going to miss being able to float. I mean, it's such a bizarre thing. And I think so amazing that our brains are able to adjust to it so quickly. I think when we get to space station, I know that I never really felt like I should be walking up here. And so the fact that you get used to floating so quickly, it's an amazing way to be able to get around. I think we miss floating and miss just the views. The opportunity when you're floating past a window to just look out and see Australia or Africa, or the immensity of the ocean, the clouds stuck across it. And it just freezes you, and you just want to you stare at it for a little while and just try to comprehend it. And I think we're all going to miss that.
Okay, going back to our phone bridge now, we'll go to Russell Pound with Pacific Refuge. Russell.
And this is for Dr. Will. And my question is about medical research. Is there an experiment you worked on during this mission that you think may be of most benefit or most interesting to those of us back here on Earth? Thanks.
Thank you for that question. I think that's one of the really remarkable things about the space station is that it is not just dedicated to a single line of science. It is, we have basic science, physics, astrophysics, and we're doing medical research up here as well, and really a whole suite of it. Some of the experiments that I really enjoyed working on, and particularly interested in, are we have a project on immunosuppressants. So really looking at the aging process of immune cells to better understand the immune system dysfunction that we see in astronauts here on orbit. So we see some immune hyperactivity and some immune system depression. So truly understanding that at the cellular level, that was a lot of fun to participate in, to be a part of, and to conduct that research up here with the amazing team back on the Earth. We've had other projects that are using electron microscopes. We are the subjects of a lot of studies as well, and so it's really interesting, and we're very hopeful that a lot of that leads to just improvements in diagnosis and therapeutics back on Earth.
Okay, next up on our phone bridge, we have Mark Thoreau with Aviation Week and Space Technology. Mark?
Thank you. My question for Dr. Lindgren and Samantha Christophe. Each of you flew on the space station previously, and I wonder how you might describe or assess the structural integrity and day-to-day function of the station at this point.
That's an interesting question, and certainly I think as soon as we arrived a few months ago, we were struck by the increase of activity and the sheer amount of equipment that is installed on space station. It's visibly more crowded. If you just look at it and you don't know what's going on, it seems like a lot of clutter, but that clutter really stands for additional equipment that has been installed. So in terms of science, there's a lot more investigation opportunities on board now than there were 7 years ago. Michelle already mentioned the scanning electron microscope. We've got 3D printers. We've got all kinds of facilities, either to gather samples and data for further analysis on the ground, but also for analysis and measurements on orbit. And that was very much less the case 7 years ago. There is also a strong effort to use space station as a platform for maturing exploration technologies, especially when life support is concerned. So there is a whole slew of ECLS, like life support technology demos that are running on space station. Again, something new. We have a second toilet with a whole new toilet stall that we didn't have back then, that is due to become operational soon. And so it's an ever busier space station.
Okay, next up, I think we have a reconnected Elizabeth Howell with Space.com. How do you hear us, Elizabeth?
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for all your help today. This question is first directed to Jessica, but I'd also like to hear from everybody. Can you talk about how the ISS is a springboard for moon research, particularly regarding the Artemis program? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. It is a really important part of what we are doing up here, and really exciting part of what we are able to do up here, using the International Space Station as a test bed for future exploration. So that looks like many different things. Samantha has mentioned a couple of them, looking at technologies as it relates to life support and how we can progress those technologies in order to support future exploration. We have experiments like X-Roots, which is investigating means of growing plants and growing crops on a larger scale without soil, so without the overhead in terms of volume, mass, and containment that comes with soil, that will have really important applications and implications for future exploration. We also are looking into some of the effects of human spaceflight on the human body and the human brain. So looking to cognitive effects as well as physiological ones. And we are looking into ways to protect against some of the hazards that are associated with some of this exploration. For example, of course, radiation is one of the biggest factors that needs to be mitigated as we move forward. So we're looking into different means of protecting against radiation. AstroRad is an experiment, a test that we are conducting up here, where there's a vest that we can wear as crew members on board that would facilitate us to be able to continue operating the station, continue with our science or whatever maintenance is being completed during a solar radiation event. So we're looking at how effective that vest is, and then we're also going to be sending that vest up on Artemis 1. So coming up here shortly, that vest will be going up on the mannequin on Artemis 1. We'll be able to compare that data with the experience of actually wearing it here on ISS. So many examples of all of the ways that the ISS is really enabling us to further technologies and understanding that will enable us to go further into the solar system.
Okay, next up we have Marvin Marshall, the Nighttime News Space Report. Marvin?
Nighttime News Space Report on Fish TV. The question is for all of you, when you return home here soon, outside the International Space Station, what would be considered city or natural occurrence that you witnessed from orbit B? Thank you for everything, and we look forward to seeing you all back home shortly.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, looking out the window, of course, is just part of essential to the experience of being here in low Earth orbit. And I think all of us really enjoy looking back and looking at places where we've lived and worked, where we have friends and family. For me, there's a really cool pass that starts in the northwest and flies over Colorado, where I spent much of my undergrad and graduate school years and medical school years. I have friends and family there, and that continues on down over Houston, where my family lives now. So that's a really special pass. Another pass that goes over Colorado and up to Minnesota, where I trained in emergency medicine. So those are really special. But I agree with Bob. The aurora, for me, it's spectacular, ethereal, and something that I'd love to see on the Earth sometime. But seeing it from space, flying through it, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've got a pass, my pass, right? But I moved around a lot as a kid, and so I have a lot of those kinds of places as well. But there's one that kind of goes up just off the East Coast, and then it goes over, and then it actually touches Europe too, where there's a couple places that I've lived over there. So that's one pretty big epic pass. And during the right time of year, there's a little bit of the aurora borealis in the top end of that orbit as well. So it's pretty spectacular. But it's hard to pick just one. I think, when I'm asked questions like that, it's not just one. It's the whole idea of looking out the window, and every time, even if you fly over the same spot, it's different. The weather patterns are different time of year, the colors change. If there's a drought or lots of rain, that just changes the look of everything. All the surface processes that are going on all around the world are just absolutely amazing. It just never gets old. Like, you never see the same thing twice. And so I think one of the cool things we get is this global perspective of how everything is interacting with everything else. We can see, sand blowing off the Sahara, and then you start witnessing those coming into the Gulf of Mexico and then getting blown over the U.S. And so you can see stuff like that. You can see all those different processes going together. To me, it's that system, the way that system of systems interact is just really, really neat.
All right, our next question comes from Manuel Mazzanti with Debate. Well,
hi, how are you? Thank you so much. Congratulations to the four of you on a successful mission. I cover the space program in Spanish, and this is a question for Joe, because I know that a few days ago, you had the chance to talk to Argentinian students in a base in Antarctica. Your experience, even considering an interesting situation that you're talking from an isolated place like ISS, another isolated place like Antarctica. Gracias.
Thank you. That was a really remarkable experience, and to have, as you mentioned, that shared experience of living in a relatively isolated area, seeing the same faces every day. And so sharing that kind of common experience. And I think that's one really powerful thing about being up here, that ability to connect and communicate with places all over the world, and to share the experience, to share the views that we have up here. It is absolutely amazing. Seeing the space station, getting to live and work here, an absolute privilege to be a part of this team that has joined countries and nations all over the world to build this remarkable orbital platform, and to see what we're able to do as an international community working towards towards peaceful means, and what we were able to accomplish, and to be able to share that, demonstrate that to the world, I think is very powerful. And being able to communicate with students, not just in a different country or continent, but in Antarctica, not in an Antarctic base, was really that was a really special experience for me, and I hope the students had a great time with it as well.
Okay, getting towards the end of our window, we've got time for a couple more. We'll go to Sophie Sanchez with Cosmics Chicago. Sophie.
Good morning from So last month, Samantha, you shared a video about edible insects, and it opened a lot of conversation about sustainability here on Earth. And I was wondering if you can share what future space food tech you're working on in the space station that you're surprised by. And Jessica, you mentioned egg fruit. Have you found gardening easier or harder in space than it was here on Earth? Thank you.
Mic check. Okay. So.
Yeah, so thanks for that question. Yeah, I shared that video.
My grandchildren, we are on a mission. We are on a mission. What is the mission? To retrieve the globe from behind the four perpetrators that are sending fake messages of reconstruction to, so who's going to retrieve the globe? Let's retrieve the fake globe. The globe, the representation. This is our mission. Okay, they can continue.
About edible insects, because one of the topics that I really wanted to communicate. Just be something to consider going forward.
And to answer your question about space gardening, I have set a pretty low bar in terms of my gardening capabilities on Earth. So I have learned a lot, being able to exercise my green thumb here on board. And I'm so grateful for the amazing team of people on the ground who help walk us through everything that we need to be successful in terms of growing crops up here. It's been awesome to be able to walk into the Columbus module and smell the smell of leaves growing, of plants growing. It is really.
Look, I think NASA done boot me out their system, y'all. Wait a minute, I shouldn't have did that. Did we complete the mission? My granddaughter, wait a minute. I said, I think they booted me out the system. She said, no, I think they're done. Wait a minute. Oh, man. We still have a chance to go in there and retrieve the globe. Look, they ain't live no more, Angel. They're not live. She right. Say they ended the stream when they realized we were coming to retrieve the globe, huh? Wait a minute. So, since they ended the stream, I will return later for continuation of today's 10-11 updates. Remember, now, the most important update that they were supposed to give us was about DART going out there and NASA raping the solar system. Nah, don't interrupt me, Lon. Don't interrupt me, because they cut my live. They cut it short. They were saying something important about insects too. They cut the live short because they knew we were gonna make it. Are we still on this mission? We're still on this mission of exploring strange new worlds that NASA has put out. But we will come back later for the updates on the crime against the solar system, where they used DART and penetrated an egg out there in space. Okay, so y'all stay tuned, please. Enjoy the 10-11 transfiguration. Yeah, wait, come on, say it just a little bit louder. Come on, say it in the headpiece. What?
I hope you enjoyed this. I hope we come back and tell you all about the stinking globe that we will get later.
From behind the astronauts.
Behind the astronauts.
All right.